Hey everyone, figure I'd do a two-parter for the solutions for the most recent homework that I gave this week and the last part of the linear functions unit that we're going to be covering. So I'll post a PDF of this in case you don't want to watch the video and just want the answers, but I'll also post a video just in case you want to have a more detailed walkthrough of what's actually going on here. All right, so the first 5 questions here, we're told to um, write the slope-intercept equation or the slope-intercept form of the following lines if we are looking at them in a graphical form. So again, we're going to look for always 2 nice points on our line, and I'm going to choose this point here, and I will choose, so we'll choose this point here. Let me say that this is 0, 4, and we'll choose this point here. You see that this point is 2, 1. And so we have our x1 and our y1. x1, we have our x1 and our y1, we have our x2 and our y2, right? Okay. And what we can do with those 2 points is we can find the slope. So let's do that. Slope equals 1 minus 4 x2, or sorry, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which was 2 minus 0. This gives us negative 3 over 2, which is our slope. And remember, our slope actually equals m for our y equals mx plus b equation. So we can write that out. We have y equals negative 3 over 2 times x plus b. And now we need to figure out what b is. You can do 2 things here. You can plug in one of these 2 points into this equation and solve for it, or you can look on the equation right here and you see that, hey, we crossed that y-intercept at 4. So that's our y-intercept. We just have y. This is also b. It crosses at b. And that is all there is to that first one there. All right, let's look at this one. So again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to find 2 nice points. There's a nice point right in the middle there. And where else is there a nice point that we can use? Well, it looks like there might be one at the extreme opposite ends of this, right? So let's label these. What's the one up here? This one is the point negative 3, 5. This one down here looks like it is 3, negative 5. Actually, we have 3 points here, so I mean, it's really up to you what you want to use. I'm just going to stick with those 2 that I have. And this point, this point here is 0, 0. So we'll find slope. So that's going to equal our y2 minus our y1, which is 5, and our x2, 0 minus negative 3. Remember, we have to put that brackets there because we need to account for that negative that's still in that negative 3. It's not just 0 minus 3. So what do we have here? Well, we have negative 5 on top over what's 0 minus negative 3? Well, that's just 0 plus 3, which is 3, which equals m. So let's do this. We got y equals mx, y equals negative 5 over 3 times x plus b. And again, we need to figure out what that y-intercept is going to be. Well, we see that the y-intercept here it's pretty nice, right? It's 0. But just for the sake, we can see what happens. Let's solve for b, and I'll use this point. I'll use the 0, 0 point, and we'll see what happens. So that means that I'm going to sub in. Let's do solve for b. Use point 0, 0. Okay. That means we're going to plug in 0 for x and y in our equation. So for y, we have 0 equals negative 5 over 3 times 0 plus b. Well, hey, we have 0 equals 0 plus b, or 0 equals b, right? So we see that this is following suit, and we have that y-intercept of 0 there. So what do we have? What do we have for our equation? I'm just going to separate this part out here, and therefore our final equation is y equals just negative 5 over 3x. You could write plus 0 if you want. You don't have to. You do not have to. All right, what about this one? What about this one? So again, I'm going to find two nice points on this line. I see that we have one right here, which again, it's our y-intercept. And it looks like we have one right down here. And what we need to do is calculate the slope. The slope, what does that equal? Well, slope equals well, let's label these points first. So we have 0, 2, and over here we have, looks like negative 2, negative 4. So we're going to take our x2, and remember, we're reading our points from left to right. So this is actually our x1, y1. This is our x2. This is our y2. And let's do our slope. So we have 2 minus negative 4 over 0 minus negative 2. So we have this kind of double negative situation going on both our numerator and denominator, or both our x and y values. So what does this mean? What does this mean? Well, what's 2 minus negative 4? That's the same thing as 2 plus 4. It's the same thing as 0 plus 2. I'm just going to bring this down here. We get 2 plus 4 is 6. 0 plus 2, 2. 3. So 3 is our slope. And now we need b. Now we need b. Well, I'll solve it. I'll solve it by plugging in. Solve for b. And what we need to do is, I'm going to use the point 0, 2. And so I'm going to plug in for y equals mx plus b, 2 equals, what was our slope? What was our slope? What we said our slope is 3 times 0 plus b. So we get 2 equals 0 plus b, or 2 equals b, right? So very similar to the last one, and we get y equals 3x plus, 2. And we see that that's true over here too, right? There's that 2 is crossing in our y-intercept, or y-axis, so therefore it is the y-intercept. All right, what about this one? Same deal. Let's find 2 points that are nice. And I'm sure you can kind of get the drift of what's going on here. 0, 3, this is negative 2, negative 3. Oops, sorry. Negative 3, negative 2. We'll plug in our slope, which is 3 minus negative 2. Yep. Over 0 minus negative 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 0 minus negative 3 is positive 3. Five over 3x, and then we see over here our y-intercept is occurring at 3 plus 3. That's the gist of it. Okay. And last one here. So this one's a bit different, right? It's a completely flat horizontal line. We know what this means. This means that there's a constant slope, or in other words, that our slope in this case is 0. And we could prove that. We can prove that because we have a bunch of points here that lie on the same line. We have a bunch of points here that lie on the same line, and let's see what happens when we plug them in. So let's say that this one is at point, what point is this? Well, this is at point 2, 1, right? And this point over here is at negative 3, 1. We have our x, 1, our y, 1. We have our x, 2. We have our y, 2. Let's plug this in. Plug this in. So what do we get? What do we get? Well, we get 1 minus 1 on top, right? Y2 minus y1 over 2 minus negative 3. We get 0 over 2 plus 3, 5. Get 0 as a slope, right? That's going to always follow through. Makes sense. It doesn't matter what the denominator is. We're dividing by, we're taking 0 divided by some number. It's always going to be 0. And so all we really need then is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept, where does that occur on this one? The y-intercept occurs right here. And which value is that? Well, that was, oops, sorry. This should actually be a -1 here. It doesn't change anything up here, because now you just have -1 plus 1, which is just 0. And so all we're left with is 0 times x minus 1. 0, -1. Or just y equals -1. This is the most correct way to put that equation. So that's it for that one, folks. I'm just going to color in each of these solutions here. Make them obvious where they all are, and then we'll move on to the last question. Okay. So in this question, we're asked to plot 4 different lines on the same grid. And we have a bunch of different lines here, and we just need to plot and label each one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a grid as best as I can here. Oops. And with this grid, you should have more than enough room, no matter where you draw the line. But if not, that's okay. We can see what we can do. So we got y here, we got x here. I'm going to use blue for my points. And actually here, I'll label what each one is going to be here. So I'll do blue for that one, I'll do pink for B. I will do dark green for C. And what should I do for the other one? Let's do this seafoam green. Okay, those are all different enough. So let's start out with A here. So with A, we're given the equation y equals 3 over 5x minus 4. So always a good point here is to plot the, plot the y-intercept. We know the y-intercept in this case is -4. So let's go and plot that on the y-axis. On the y-axis, I'm just going to count by ones. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's my first point right there. And then from this point, we're going to use this point to help us calculate where the next point is going to be with the help of the slope, right? So this slope here, remember this represents our rise over our run. So this means that we're going to go to the right, or the positive direction, 3 units. We're going to run, sorry, I always read this, we're going to go up 3 units, up 3 units, because that is our rise, and then we're going to go to the right 5 units. Because our rise is in our x direction, our run is in our rise is in our y direction, our run is in our x direction, right? And since we're going into the positive direction, we need to go right. So let's do that from our point of -4. So we're going to go up 3 units, 1, 2, 3, and then over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our second point. We can do another one just to make sure. We go up 3 units, 1, 2, 3, and then over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And it's just that simple. I don't mean to reduce this into something that is that seems like super duper easy, but that's really all there is to it. I'm going to try and make this as straight as possible. That's a bit better. There we go. And if you want to label this, you don't have to label it the full equation. You can just say that this is A. Okay? But I would really prefer if you did the full equation, but I understand that that might get a bit congested with all the lines that we're going to draw. So there's A. Let's do B now. So what's B? Well, again, let's start with that y-intercept, right? Because we have a positive 1. We have a positive 1. Let's plot that. Positive 1. And for B, it looks like we don't have a rise over run, right? Because it's just -4. But remember, we could turn that into a fraction. And all that fraction means is that we're going to be going to the, it doesn't matter which negative you put the number on here. So it could be a -4, it could be a -1. Let's do it opposite this time. Let's say that we're going to go to the right 4 units. And then we'll go down We'll go down 1. Oh my gosh, I'm still doing this again. Let's go up 4 units, and then instead of going to the right 1 unit, we'll go to the left 1 unit. Because negative. Because it's negative, right? We need to go into the negative direction. So again, you can flip-flop these. You could say instead of going up, I'm going to go down 4 units. But if you go down 4 units, that means that your 1 has to be positive and you'll go right. So it'll just be up and then right. Or sorry, down right, right? It'll just flip whatever way that you choose to go with the slope here. So we're at our positive 1 point, and we need to go, we're going to go up 4 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to go left 1 unit right here. Let's do that again. So up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1. And you see, we still get a negative slope if we do this. We still get a negative slope if we do this, right? And that works. And just to show you, we could do another one. We could do another one. Instead of going up 4 units, I'm going to go down 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go right 1 unit this time. So right here. And you see how it stays the same no matter which way you go. It's just going to take you a different direction, either left or right. So I'm going to try and draw a line as best as I can throughout all those. And that could be better. Oh, come on. It's hard because the grid on here does not snap like it usually does. So what I might do, let's see if I can just adjust. Sorry, bear with me. Let's get this at the right. There we go. That's better. Oops, come on, don't mess it up now. And this is B. Okay, great. We're like halfway through now. Let's look at C. And C will go through a little bit quicker so that we're not wasting our time here. So C, we're going to look for our y-intercept of positive 3. So we got 1, 2. There's positive 3 for C. And I'm just going to follow our rise over run here. So I'm going to rise in this case. I'm going to rise 1 unit. I'm going to go to the left 8 units because that's going to be my negative. I'm making the 8 negative. So we'll rise 1 unit and we'll go to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on, there we go. So there's 1 point. And let's see if we can do that one more time. So we'll rise 1 unit from this point and we'll go to the left 8 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We just make it. And you might choose to go another direction, and that's totally fine. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be a gong show, trying to get this right. Oh, it actually wasn't bad. Oh, come on. This is our C, and then we'll round this off with a nice x minus 5 graph. We said that x minus 5, well, let's plot that on our y-intercept here. And our y-intercept is going to be negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. And what did we get? Well, this one, I'm just going to make a note about this one. This one just has 1 times x in front of it, right? Technically, there's a 1 in front of there, but we don't write it if we don't have to. That 1 is also just a fraction, so we have just 1 over 1. So we're going to rise 1 and go to the right 1. So up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. And then we'll connect those. and this is D. Okay, so that's it, folks. I hope this was helpful, and I will give you some more updates on what the assessment or what the test is going to look like for next week. But that is it. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will maybe connect 2 weeks from now. You remember, you don't have to come to school if you don't need to, and it's only going to be for, even if they haven't given you any updates yet, it's just going to be for extra support if you do need it. So please feel free to drop in, and there's going to be more information on coming with that next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we'll connect next week. Okay, see you, everyone.